Hi, welcome to a video about my oldest riding model Mydfir, which is about line following and color recognition in combination with sonar. So this is a model that at demonstrations is still widely popular. The only problem is that color recognition on the various light intensities and light sources is hard, because with each light source the color spectrum is different, and so is color recognition. So I will try to improve that and see how the robot works. So let's see how it works now. One problem is that it runs quite slowly at the moment, which I might improve by increasing its speed. But also right now you see that for some reason it has stopped, and if I just put it back on track, it goes on, and that is a weakness that I will try to improve as well, because this happens quite a few times. Also, the lights that you see on top, red, green and blue, are supposed to light up, and that is what they don't. So let me try to encourage it, and there it goes again. And while it does follow the line, here it goes wrong again, for no reason, no apparent reason at least. And that is something that I'll have to try to avoid. So let me correct it. Let me see what happens if I block the sonar with a ruler. That works. More or less. Okay, so let's find out how the codec can be improved. As you may have noticed, there was no audio at the screencast. I have yet to find out why that is. However, the point is that some things are well, can be improved, but let me just try to run this code once again. In the upper left corner you see the RF data link, which implies that the code runs on the computer and remotely controls the robot. So let's do another run and see what happens. And it looks like it needs some help. And now I'm curious if it senses the data link. No, it doesn't. It just carries on. So let's see what happens with the sonar. That works. And it is driving pretty slowly with the, as you could see, the speed set to 1. And what needs to be done is setting the colors right. The red glow right in front of the left side wheel is the color recognition, and right now the red light on top right here should have flashed, and now the green should have flashed. So those values are completely off, and right now the blue should have flashed, but neither happens, so that is a problem. And as explained as well, the light intensity and the light source make the colors have different values. So with bright sunlight it is a very different value than with this. So that makes it pretty hard. But let's try it anyway. See if it again does something unexpected. Sometimes it makes a turn which is unexplainable. And with the first part of this video, just after filming, it made that turn, and now if you want it to happen, it doesn't happen, of course. Anyway, let's get back to the code and see whatever happens. With the screencast still not working where it comes to the audio, I'll do it with the camera. I have changed it in a way, the code that is, that it writes the distance that is sensed by the sonar, and here you see that I introduce the variable kleur, which means color. Here it gets the values from the color sensors, and if the values are here between 125 and 135, it says it will be green. It should be green. So here K1 is converting this value into a string. Here it writes the K1 variable to the data file, and then it writes a tab and says it's green. But then at least I didn't do this, but at least then I will know, okay, it is supposed to be green. And of course I did this for the other three colors as well. And let me show the way that the data file is structured right now. It goes on and on. Right now it is 34, no, it is 6 megabytes, and of course its size depends on how long the file runs. So that said, I will run it and then see which actual value it gets, because in this part, if the color doesn't match any of these boundaries and above, then it says okay, it's different, and it will say which value it is, and depending on this value I can adjust these values. I do hope so. You never know what happens. So let's run it and see. With the little changed code, let's see what happens. And the change will primarily be in the data file. And there is some problem with there's a variable, and I see that I do need probably to change the battery. So I hope this will be okay. And let's try to run it again. It moves, so, but very, very slowly, which means that the battery pack needs replacement. So I think I will just do that. That is quite easily done. I'll just have to put this away. Freshly loaded. There we go again. I hope so. And I will take this for a very short run, since I'm very interested in the colors, and the color will be the color, so that will be about it. So it should have sensed the colors, so let's see about what the colors actually are. So let us take a look at the data file. Apparently 60. Then skipping ahead, and going page down, and there I saw something. So what do we see here? Sonar larger than 5, sonar D1 larger than 15, and of course the first is here. This comes by, and then we say larger than 15, but where are the values? Are we even getting values? And I think this is on screen, but let's see if there is any more, let's say, thing that should give line speed, but it doesn't. So we continue scanning for any way that we can read colors, because that's what we are looking for. Page down again, going through the code, and once again we see absolutely nothing. And this is quite remarkable. So there's nothing telling what color there is. Absolutely nothing. And I keep pressing the page down, but I think this is the end of the file. Yes. I'm going up again. There's no color in any way in the file. That means that I have to change the algorithm a little bit. And as long as this part of each if condition is a new line. but now I see that this is not a new line, and here there is, and that is logical because this is about the distance, so that is alright if it is like that, and this is alright as well. So right now it indeed does not sense any light, which is rather annoying. Here it prints, here it writes the color. But if the color is 0, what do you get? Probably totally nothing. So the question is, now the point is, of course, if these values are not even got, then it skips to anders, which means different, and then I should see different. Well, even that, let's look at that. Look for and that is the one side, and there's only one occurrence, only one. Now we look for green, there's no occurrence, and that is quite remarkable. So I'll have to change that, and I don't even know what values I should use. And this makes it quite complicated, but going to try anyway. And let's see, the value is 16, and that is somewhere here, closest to here. And if you notice, I have between 75 and 85, between 125 and 135, and this. Okay, yeah, there are different non-overlapping ranges, but it's strange anyway. Right, let's have a look. Since it is quite odd that the data file didn't contain any color values other than the digit 16 for different, I've put some lights on and see if that will change something, I hope. And of course this does not need to be a very long piece of work, but let's just do 2 runs. And there again it goes off the tracks apparently, so let's help it just a little bit. It remains a little bit weird. And just for seeing how it reacts, let me push it back a little bit. So she's red again. And here once again over green. Let it go and push back. But it, yes, now it goes back on green. And this is more or less about it. Slowly but surely. And how more fun it would be if the lights actually did their job. Anyway, enough for. So with this last run, let's see how the data file looked like. And remarkably the same. Pressing page down to skip the boring sonar lines. Quite a lot of them. Skipping to the end, let's see if I'm from the end to page down, page up now. And when it doesn't see color, it says sonar larger than 5, and of course that data is a lot longer, a lot more than the color data. Okay, let's do it different. This is again other, and if I go to look for green, there's nothing found. So if I look for blue, nothing found either. And for this it says red is not found either. And do I look correct? Yes, because that is found and only there. So this means that there's been no difference and I can't track anything. So the problem is how to get those data. It measures 16, so what I'm going to do to get any data at all is to put this down to 16 with the average range. I say okay, I'll put this down to 30 maybe and see what happens then. Otherwise I have no idea. So let's see what's gonna happen now. Which color will be detected? That said, it is 16. Let me put it down to 10. Safer. So let's see. And with this data range changed from 16 to whatever, let's see what happens. again there is a variable not defined for some reason. Let's go now, and it shows red, and that's very curious. It shows red with green and with blue, which means that it is a very different value range that I'm dealing with now, because now it shows red every time, which is obviously not the intention. So this is very odd, and a very big value range. So let me just change that on the fly. With the upper limit to 25, between 10 and 25. That doesn't matter either, so I'm going to change it on the fly to 15 and 25. So what happens now? Still red, and red going on. I'm quite puzzled. This should not happen. I have changed the values from the different colors in the ranges 15 to 25. 25 to 35 and 35 to 45, without guarantee that it will work, and so far only the red is active. So it is a very low value in number. And apparently I'll have to find out in the data file which values are being detected, but since those lights aren't shown, it shall have to be a different color value altogether. And let me just stop this and see what it is. Then who knows what lights it shed. And this is very curious because it only shows the value 16. This means that there's something wrong with the sensor, because with all the different colors, etc., it is impossible that it should show only 16. Which means it should say red, which it doesn't. So there is some improvement. I don't know yet how to solve it. but that is not correct. Certainly to be continued. Which means thank you for watching.